All right, guys, small group. Al, hey, Al, are you a place you get your camera on? We want to see your pretty face. You might not have been a step away from the camera. So we can, Brian, what's on your mind? We can start with that. And because we had a really cool role play today with our team, and I'll wait a few minutes so some other people get on. I'll share my thought of the day, and then we'll get at this.
Yeah, so I actually wrote, can you hear me?
Yeah.
So I actually wrote down, because I know John asked if there's anything on anyone's mind and no one answers. So I wrote a few things down that I would get from buyers, sellers. Specifically from buyers, when you're first calling them or talking to them, I found that some of them would say, just if I find anything, I'll contact you. If I find anything online, I'll reach out to you, which they never do. They forget.
All right. So Liliana, how are you doing? We can do that. I'm going to set, tell you what, I'll set a timer. I'll let John go first, then I'll handle it if you want. And then I'll let anybody else go after that. So John, how much time do you want?
Well, let's, Bryant teed up for me one more time because I was emailing support on this, but let's do it just like we talked about then. Let's do a 4-minute role play and then a discussion afterwards, and we can break it into segments. So.
Well, you can't have the discussion till I go. So.
Oh, you're going to go first. All right.
So you're going. No, you're going. I'll give you 3 minutes to do it. I'll give you 3.5 minutes.
All right.
And then we'll just see. And what's interesting, we don't rehearse this, and it's just interesting how people think different, play different. And I love the perspective, because you're going to like pick and choose. So let me get my timer set. I got a stopwatch set, and
all right, we're on the phone. And Bryant, you are a buyer, correct?
Yeah, I'll be the buyer.
All right, perfect. Go ahead and give me the objection. Let's do it.
John, if I find anything, I'll reach out to you.
Brian, I can appreciate that. Let me ask you this. If the perfect house came along and you didn't find out about it until after it was already sold, how would you feel?
I'll be infuriated. I'll be upset.
So do you think that there's a possibility that a professional agent like myself would know about properties coming on the market before you did?
Yeah, how would you be able to find the perfect property before it hits the market?
Well, outside of the fact that our team lists and sells at least one home every day, we're networked with all of the top producing agents in the area. And we talk about our clients' needs to get a head start on what's happening. So for instance, an agent, a friend of mine, may be listing a property that's a perfect fit for you. Wouldn't you like to know about it before the general public?
Yeah, that completely eliminates the competition.
It does, doesn't it? And that's exactly why you need to work with me.
Yeah, I would think that's that's way better than me trying to do it by myself.
Terrific. So when is a good time for us to spend 15, 20 minutes face-to-face so we can make sure that we're using the best use of your time and finding the right property as quickly and seamlessly as possible?
So, all right, 1.5 minutes.
Yeah, that's pretty
Brian, do you think you got to the center of the Tootsie Pop?
I think he got straight to it.
Was that hard?
Smooth. It was easy.
And okay, so I'll go. I don't know what I can do a whole lot different. I'll just start it out different. So I understand. So you're saying that you would give me a call, right, Brian?
Yeah. Denny, if I find something, I'll reach out to you like I do it every single time when I find a house by myself. I'll just reach out to the agent.
Okay, you're saying you're going to reach out to the agent that lists the home. We're going to reach out to me.
I'll give you. When I find the house, I'll give you a call.
Okay.
So we can see it.
You mind if I ask a couple questions?
Sure, go ahead.
Why would you call me?
Oh, I don't know. If I find it by myself, I'd put an offer in by myself.
Well, I guess you could do that. I'm just kind of curious. Why would you call me though? Why are you telling me you're going to call me?
I didn't really think about that. I don't know.
Are you just trying to get rid of me?
Man, I gotta go. I gotta take this call.
Are you still role playing? You got to take a call.
Being serious.
Are you
Handle the
open?
objection. Handle the objection, Denny.
Well, the reason I asked that question is because what is your method of finding a property? I'm just kind of curious.
Oh, just looking on Zillow. You know, it's what I usually do. Just look on Zillow, and I'll find it. I'll request information, or whoever I'm working with, I'll contact the agent.
Well, there you go again. You're going to be contacting the agent when you said if you find something, you'd be calling me. Now, are you going to be working with me when you find a home, or working with a listing agent?
Oh, just I guess whoever has the house online, I'll work with that agent.
Okay. And so I'm going to just stop. You see where you've got to get some clarity because he's moving back and forth, and don't be afraid to get clarity on it because he said, oh yeah, I'll find the right house, I'll call you. Well, now he's saying he's going to call the listing agent. So if you want to handle an objection, make sure you know what the objection is. So, all right, I understand that. So are you saying you want to work with a listing agent on the property?
No, I what's a listing agent?
Well, I'm just puzzled. I mean, so when you find a house, you're going to need somebody to help you, correct?
Yeah, showing seeing the house. Just I guess whenever I find it, I'll figure it out myself.
And have you decided in your mind that I am going to be the person you call when you see a listing you want to see?
Well, why would I call you?
That's what I started with. Why would you call me? And let me get to the bottom line because I've already taken more time than John. And I'm only showing. I'm sorry?
45 seconds.
Yeah, I got 45 seconds. The reason I'm asking the question is how long do you think, how many people know about the home before you would see it on Zillow?
I don't know. Who does?
Well, how about the listing agent? How about the people that work with the listing agent? How about the agents that work with the listing office? How about all the buyers that work with the agents in the listing office? And how many days do you think from the time the seller raises their hand to the time they actually put a sign in the yard, how many days go by?
A lot more than I need. I mean,
well, let's say that you wanted to buy a bottle of bourbon, a Blanton's, and it's hard to find, right? And so
yeah.
you think you're going to walk in the store one day and find that on the shelf?
No, it'll be gone.
It'll be gone. 14 days go by and probably hundreds of buyers have already looked at it. So the reason I'm asking, I'll close with this. Why would you bother calling me on a house that's no longer available?
I wouldn't.
There's a better way. You want to hear about it? There. So it's 4 minutes. But I did stop for an interjection something. So let's break it down, you guys. John?
All right. So Denny, one question for you. When Bryant gave you the objection about calling the listing agent directly, why not use the same script we use with sellers? So you want to call the listing agent and you want to be unrepresented in this transaction. Is that what you're saying?
I wouldn't say I want to be unrepresented, but I guess if I find it myself, then I'll put the offer in myself.
Yeah, that's excellent. And putting the offer on yourself is great. And the easiest part of my job is finding the property. The hardest part is keeping the property together. You got 3 points, and this is a script that we use off script here for a second. There's a script we use for sellers, just reversing it for buyers. There's 3 points where a negotiation can go wrong. Do you know what those 3 points are?
No, I don't.
Well, at the negotiating table, you find the property, you come to a price. Where else can it go wrong? At the inspection. Where else? At the appraisal. And then there's a fourth, and that's at the closing table. So that was the one takeaway I had with your role play with Denny, is another angle could be to reverse the seller script that we use into a buyer script. It's exactly the same concept. What other takeaways do you guys have?
Amazing.
Well, that's not, yeah, well, we expect that. Come on.
We got Daniel here.
All right, so let's reverse it. Liliana, you're going to be that buyer, and Bryant, you're going to handle it.
Awesome. So the objection, who am I speaking to? Liliana.
Yeah.
The objection is much. Does she know the objection or not?
I'll make sure. Hey, look, when I find something, I'll call you. And so just before you start, I'm going to answer John's question. The reason I didn't go into answering that objection of him wanting to call the listing agent, because it hadn't become clear yet that that's what he wanted to do.
Got it. Okay.
I was going back and forth, attempting to nail him down because he kind of broke the rules, although he doesn't really have a rule because he's a client, right? Because he raised the objection and he just answered it differently. So he didn't really break the rules. So Liliana, you are a buyer that says, hey, you know what? If I find the right house, I'll call you. All right. So he's the agent. You are the buyer, and I'm starting the timer right now. Go.
Brian, I will call you when I find my house. So for you to help me at that point. Until then, please don't call me.
Hey, Liliana, I really appreciate your input on that. But how are you looking for homes, by the way?
I look in a particular area, but it has to be very specific. I'm very detail oriented, and I don't want to bother you. I don't want to waste your time. I really want to take my time and looking. And when I found the perfect home for me, I will call you.
Great, Liliana. I really appreciate that, and finding the perfect home and within the time frame that you need is very important. But my question is how are you looking for homes online?
Well, I look online. I go to the open house, every single open house in the last 5 streets I live. I go, I talk to people, I find out the neighborhood. I just want to make an informed decision, a prepared decision before I jump in. And this is how I feel doing it. Do you have any suggestion? I could do something different.
Yeah, and Liliana, my question is how much time is this taking up for you with talking to people, going to open houses? How much time is that taking from you?
You know what? I'm retired, and that's something that I love to do. I may become a realtor soon.
Perfect. I'd love to hear that if someone want to come into the industry. But also, you mentioned something very important, is that you want to make a very informed decision. When you see that ideal home or that perfect home, when will you know to make that decision?
When I'm ready, because I have friends that work with realtor and they made an expensive experience, and I don't want to end having that.
Okay, so you definitely don't want to make the wrong decision and spending more money than you need, right?
That's correct.
Okay, and how do you think other buyers in this competitive market are looking for homes?
You know what? I don't care about other people. I care about me, and just me. That's it.
I really appreciate that. And that's very important. You are very important in this world. So with this competitive market we're in, with the 100 other buyers looking for something that's a perfect home, and if that perfect home is perfect to you, wouldn't you think that it'll be perfect for 10 or 30 other buyers out there?
Oh, you know what? You just keep referring to others. And I told you, I don't care about others. It's about me, and I'm pre-approved. I'm ready to go when the great house comes to my likes and needs and wants. And I just need you to be by my side and be prepared when I'm ready just to act. Are you do that?
Perfect. So what you're saying here, Liliana, is that you're wanting the ideal agent working for you to find that perfect home so that you're not spending over the budget you would like to stay within, so that you can make an informed decision.
15 seconds.
Brian, I chose you because you are helping me so much prior, but right now I see you are very busy. So I want to take my time, and when I'm ready, I will contact you. Is that okay?
Liliana, you're on the top of my priority list. I'm not too busy for you, but when we find that perfect home, we of course wouldn't want to spend too much money on that home, right?
Well, money for me, to tell you the truth, is not a problem.
Before John speaks, John, you should have seen Bryant when I first met him.
Man, I need some more time on this. Oh, I could have closed her. Oh.
Yeah, well, yeah, we can learn off that. However, let me tell you what you did well. Your line of questioning was good. Your acknowledgement was good. And you didn't tell anything, and you did answer one question you asked. So you are, you've gone from like, stick ball to now you're in T-ball. So you're in T-ball now. John.
So I heard Liliana say half a dozen times, it's all about me, 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 me.
Yeah.
So how could you capitalize on that?
I was getting to that question where I kept repeating what she was saying, and I said,
Brian, she's a self-absorbed high D, man. Just hit her with it.
Gosh. I mean,
so Liliana, how would you feel? Yeah, I know you don't worry about anyone else. How are you going to feel if someone else gets your house?
Well, he didn't go to the feeling. He kept telling me what other people does. And Brian, to tell you,
let's play that out. If he asks that question, Liliana, I know it's all about you. And how will you feel if someone else gets your home?
I will feel terrible.
How about we fix that?
So Liliana, what were you waiting for him to do?
I was waiting for him to say, I'm all in with you. Let's go tomorrow and let's find out what is the perfect house for you. What are the needs and wants you want? Are you pre-qualified? What's your time and price range? He didn't ask me how much. Let's say I maybe won $1 million, 2 million. For me, I was ready to say price is not an issue. My husband, it's a top-notch, whatever, and we have money. I'm just looking for the perfect house, location, stuff like that.
That's very interesting. That was a really good role play and a good pickup, John. So there, and again, all your line of questioning was kind of getting around it. You never really took the bite into, well, tell me, how do I make this about you then, Liliana? Let's just talk about you. Something like that may have been the right question. If I hear perfect house one more time, I'm literally going to scream.
I know.
Well, she said it, so that's why
I know.
I should say amazing house.
No, you're the buyer. There's no rules for you. Although when we get to the next role play that we want to do, I will basically cut you off if you say perfect house when you're working with a buyer in a consultation consultation. Let me share something really quick with you, then we'll go into something else and put it in the chat. If you want to cover something, we're going to go to some other people. Welcome on the call, everyone. I don't know, Sonny, how are you doing? I trust you're alive and well. And
that's actually Sherry Ann. That's our support.
Okay.
Logged in as Sonny.
And Christy, is that really you, or is there somebody using your Zoom in Alaska?
Hi, Denny. It's really me.
Oh, really? Are you on the boat?
No.
Okay. So let me share something with you guys really fast. I always have a thought of the day, and I'll do it really pretty fast. So we just had a big program here. I do it once a year. Now we're doing it twice a year. It's called Market Trends. And we had about 800 people there and online as we talk about what's going on with the market. Let me just share a couple really quick thoughts with you. So bear with me, get ready for the conversations we're going to have with the objections. Things that you can start using. This could be even a slide you could use in your socials. I created a slide, and even the name, we're in a market in a million. What's gone on in the last 13 months is a market like we've never seen before. I think you guys agree. I don't think we'll see it again. And I think in a word, we're going from insane to irrational. And of course, people made a lot of money. And here's the issue though. Sellers are going to think the market's stronger than it is. So when we go on listing presentations, I'm not changing my philosophy as far as attempting to get into some sort of a wrestling match with sellers on price. Although don't be surprised if they want more and more and more and more, because that's just the way it works before they get into reality. So they're still partying like Animal House. Go rent the movie. It's a good real estate movie. And buyers, on the other hand, I think I've shared this with you before. I think one other time, a couple of weeks ago, the buyers that feel like it's a good time to buy is the blue line or green, however you want to call it. The red line is buyers think it's a bad time to buy. And you can see over here that basically 65% of the buyers don't think it's a good time to buy right now because the market's too hot, right? So what we're seeing and what I'm hearing throughout the country is this. This may be good news for buyers. I had an aha when I got ready for this presentation, and this is it. Listing inventory in our market's going up about 10%, not significant. I'm hearing across the country it's going up. Are you guys sensing that at all where you guys are? Yes or no, or whatever. You can on mic and you can say, let me know what you think. We've got Florida to Alaska to Phoenix and Canada. Are you seeing, Christy, are you seeing that yet in your area?
Yes.
Okay. So the question really boils down to, and this is what everyone wants to know, and every possibility is in this question. Will it continue? Will it correct, or will it crash? Be prepared to have that conversation with people. I would take a picture of this slide or write it down. This is the most succinct way I can explain to you what's going on and where we are right now. This is a great line for buyers or sellers if you can articulate it. And that is, the peak insanity is over. Any thoughts on that?
I was there Thursday night, so I'm not going to say anything.
That's okay.
I agree. I don't see 20 offers anymore. I agree. I see 3, 4, but not so many. If the price is right, of course.
Now, when I did my, thanks for that, Mari. When I did my news spot today on TV, I went over this and I had 3 minutes to do it. I'll see if I'll be done here in 3 minutes or less. Anybody know what that means besides John? It's not like yo, dude. That's not yo.
Is it year over year?
Yes, year over year. What's going to start happening, because we're already starting to see it, is that when you compare awesome years to regular years, the regular years will look poor. So everyone, all the major media and economic engines of real estate compare year over year. This last August with the year ago August. Then the numbers are going to be starting to fall. And here you see we had all this is monthly change in sales in our area. Your numbers are different. However, look at these huge numbers. Now what we're going to start to see, though, is this. The 2 best months we had year over year were April and May. Why was that the case? Look at that. If you can read that, 66 and 80% more. Here's why, guys. Because they're comparing it to the slowest months we had during COVID. So it overstates these numbers. Now, what's important about that is this. The 2 negative numbers we've had in July and August, down slightly, are because we're compared against good months a year ago. And look, we have nothing but good months to go. So that was the insane market. Our market will appear to be going down. The media reports another month of falling home sales. They're falling from insanity into reality. And what that means is your buyers are going to be going spitting in their hands thinking, okay, it's time to look out for that buy one, get one free deal. This is what I want you to know about the market. The market, write it down, is slowing. It is not going backwards. Just like when you drive on the interstate, you're going 65, 75 mile an hour, or if you're in New York City, you're going 30, okay? And then when you finally get into a normal road, into a 45 mile an hour speed limit, feels like you're barely moving. I see no downward pressure on price, not yet. I just see downward pressure on the upward pressure. So I wanted you to know that, because still, I think the main objections are going to be for sellers, hey, if I sell, I have nowhere to go. And for buyers, should I buy now or wait? This is going to become more pronounced. That's my thought of the day and the input on that before we go into the next session. Good, bad, better than Gary Keller? What?
Hey, Den, just out of curiosity, do you have your statistics going back to 2019 versus 2021?
Yep.
Be interested to see that.
Well, I'll just explain it. What he's asking is because July is down compared to this year, and then that year was a insane year when you go back to 2019, which was our best year of record. these 2 months were better than our best year ever, just not better than the insane year. I don't want you to get caught in that trap. And I want you to be able to explain and articulate to buyers what's really happening. You don't have to be an engineer or a rocket scientist to do that. Does that answer the question, John?
Yep, perfect. Thank you.
So no comments? I mean, I think it's good stuff. All right, let's go into something else then.
Hey, Denny, pull those two up that you just had, those next two slides with the objections.
There's one.
If I sell, I won't have anywhere to go. Who's heard that one? Awesome. Moses, do you want to be the agent? We're going to have you be the agent, and
Okay.
Marky, you're going to be the seller. If I sell, I have nowhere to go. 4 minutes.
Oh, wait. You're at the table, by the way. You're not on the phone. All right, I'm ready.
Ready, set, go.
Go.
Well, you know, I'd love to see, you know, I'd love to see all the money coming in, but if I sell, you know, I don't know where to go.
Well, what is your goal in selling, Marky?
Well, I
What-
mean,
I'm trying to understand. Let me further explain. I want to understand what your goal is so that I can try and accomplish your goal for you.
well, I mean, it's a great time to sell, and
Okay.
I don't really know where I would go. I'd like to downsize, but I mean, I'm just not really seeing anything that's available. So
Okay, so you really want to downsize. You want a smaller house for the size or for the price? Is this about money or is this about you?
I wanna get some money. I wanna, you know,
Okay, you need money. Okay, so how much money do you need?
well, I mean, as much as I could get.
Do you have like a round ballpark figure of what you would need to move on and keep maybe most of the money?
No, I just want, you know, I want to get into something that's smaller but still nice.
Okay,
And
so
yeah.
So if the CMAs in your area are from 1.4 to 900,000, you know, 900,000 being a Redfin listing because they deal in volume, and 1.4 being a boutique realtor like a Compass or Sotheby's or Keller Williams. How much money in between there do you need for your home? I cannot pick, but I know you have a beautiful home. You know, you spent your life making it better. You have a lot of amenities. And I think that depending on how much money you need, you know, will determine what you can do.
You lost me at a CMA.
Good one,
Your neighbor-
Marky. I wrote that down.
Okay, so that's your neighborhood for the past 45 days. So basically, that's what the houses have been selling for on your street and around the corner.
Okay, yeah. I mean, just whatever I could get. I think probably on the higher end.
1 minute.
So we can list your property for the higher end as we look for another property that suits you. That's not too small, I mean, and write that in your listing contract to make sure you understand you don't have to move if you can't find a place. So, you know, closing escrow is really important. So it's going to be my job to get you into that next place so we can get the escrow closed. What do you think? Would you like me to begin doing some research and making that possible for you?
Well, I mean, I don't want to be homeless. So but I can't, you know, all my money is in the house. So
10 seconds.
Okay, so would we be able to show your property as we look for another property?
well, yeah.
All right,
Okay,
time.
so it's workable. Okay, that's great. I look forward to moving forward.
All right. All right. So that's 3 minutes, 45 seconds. That's awesome. And before we debrief that, John, why don't we have another person go and let's compare and contrast. I made some notes. And so who's ready to go next, John?
Marie, are you ready?
Mari.
Yes.
Mari,
Yes, I am.
awesome. We're going to have like 18 pronunciations for your name before this is over.
I'm
As long
going
as
to make
one
a
of them's right, I'll be
recommendation.
good.
Kaylee, can you do it?
Sure, Denny.
All right. So
All right,
Kaylee,
Kaylee.
Kaylee's going to be the seller,
Yep.
and Mari, you're going to be the agent. Same objection. Where am I going to go? You have
All
3
right.
minutes and 45 seconds. Denny's got the timer on his mark.
Ready, go.
So Kaylee, I understand that you're concerned about not having a home to move in. Is that
Yeah.
correct?
Yeah, I really want to sell my house, but I don't know where I'm gonna go. I want to move to Los Angeles in 4 months, but I don't know if I'm gonna have that house there. I need to sell here and make enough money to buy there.
I totally understand your concern, Kelly. Other than not knowing where to go, is there anything else that is stopping from moving forward, sell your home and find another one?
Yeah, I'm worried about missing out on the houses that are for sale in that market because they move so fast. So I need to make sure that I make enough money fast enough to enter that market.
I understand, Kelly. If I can show you 3 different options that we can find your home and sell your home and secure that you will have a home when your house sells, is that something that you would consider?
Yeah, so what's our best option, Mari?
I'm glad you asked. Well, the first one is that we can put your house for sale and we secure a buyer, we lock in the price, and we also ask the buyer to rent you back for the time that you need. It could be 30 days, 45 days. And during that time, we're gonna find you a home. And if something goes wrong, then we can cancel. I mean, it would be like it didn't happen. That was one option. The second option is that we have a special loan called bridge loan that will help you to sell your house, buy the other one. And in case we cannot close both escrows at the same time, just in case, we will use that bridge loan.
Okay,
Okay.
okay. So
And
the
then
houses near me though, they're all on the market at 370,000, and I think my house is worth 420. So I want to list at that, but I also want to be in LA in 4 months.
sure. Yeah, we can list it at the price that you want. Now,
Okay.
let me ask you, Kelly, if we put it in the market at 420, would you be willing to sign a contract with me?
Yes.
Okay, we can do that. Now, let me ask you, what about if the market says no to 420?
Can you tell me about that?
30 seconds.
If we put it on the market, your house is in a good condition, and we don't have any offers, that means that it will need a price reduction. Would you be willing to do that?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay, perfect. Then let's sign the contract.
All right, good. 3:30. You did it with 15 seconds to spare. Awesome. Good job, Kaylee. Nice job from Alaska. And is it snowing today?
No, not yet, Denny. It's up on the mountains though.
All right, awesome. So let's start to debrief. I know John and I can always talk. We'll fill in the blanks. Let's hear from some of you guys. What are you hearing? And again, we're not picking on anyone. What do you hear good or What was your blink on it? Let's take a minute, you guys, because I want you to start to listen so you can do what me and John are doing, because someday you're going to go out and have your own little group of people that you're going to want to polish up. So give us some thoughts. Give John and I some thoughts.
So, Denny, when Kaylee mentioned she wants to put her house at 420, but first she mentioned that the other houses in her area are listed like 370. I would simply ask, well, how do you feel that your home compares to these other houses?
Okay, now again, I'm just going to ask you the question. I get that. Do you want to have that conversation before or after you get the listing signed?
Before.
Okay.
Setting the expectation of what the market. I mean, I would.
Okay. All right. Good. Thank you for the comment. Who's got another comment?
I think you should.
Denny, it was perfect, exactly the way you taught your class. And as long as she knows her client, I think it was flawless.
That's nice. Yeah, and one more, Liliana.
I think you should do a CMA and clarify the price if the price is right. Otherwise, after 2 weeks, mentioning that you're going to revisit the situation and see if we can change the price if it doesn't work.
All right, John, you want to go first? Thank you, Liliana. So, John, why don't you go first with Moses and the notes, and then I'll share, and we'll put this together, and you guys can.
All right. So first of all, Moses, you had the tougher battle of the two, because Marky was very indescript about what her needs were. So it took a little bit longer for you to be able to dig in. I love the fact that you went right for the throat with motivation. That's awesome. She didn't give a lot of motivation, which made your job a little bit more difficult. I'm interested to know, you mentioned other companies in your conversation with her, specifically in giving price ranges. I'm curious, what was the reason for that?
It's just a CMA is very important because that's real life. That's real life. But at the same time, the reason that people are pricing things is just exactly what Denny's been teaching us about the comparables from year over year. So if we're comparing a good year to a bad year, or a pandemic year to now, the way the rating works is going to be kind of not really functional or not really correct, I want to say. But with Redfin, because they deal in volume, their rating is based on listing a property, for really low and then getting more money. So they rate really high.
I guess the question comes from, did Marky mention Redfin or Compass or Sotheby's or any of those other? Did she mention any of the other companies?
No, it was part of my CMA. I just I just expressed why the prices are different that I'm aware of.
I'm like, I'm sitting down here with Moses, and if the number one statistic you guys need to know is home sellers list 75% of the time with the first agent they meet with. So I'm sitting here, I'm ready to sign because you're the first agent. And I'm like, oh, shoot, I got to go talk to Redfin and Compass because I'm missing something. So that would just caution you on too much information. All right. That's just it. That's one of those things I'm like, oh God, he shot himself in the foot, because now they have to go and compare what else is out there. So unless they open the door, and Denny, correct me if I'm wrong on this, but unless they open the door, I'm not going to bring other competition's names into the mix. So that's my take on that.
All right. So where are you, Moses? What market?
He's right below you.
I'm in the East Bay, office in Danville. I'm located in Hayward.
Okay. So do you frequently have competition from those companies you mentioned?
Well, I talked to a guy on Sunday who called me that's been wanting to list he's got multiple properties, but I've been talking to him for maybe 2 years, at least, maybe more. And, he talked to like 25 agents this past month, maybe, and he's like, trying to clean out his house, having surgeries and stuff, so, I mean, people are talking to everybody, and with the market being so thin, people, it's $35,000 commission. And if you've ever stumbled anywhere, put that, that $35,000, $50,000 commission, I mean, that's the answer to everything.
All right. So let me cover this, and we'll go in then to Who did it? Forget now. Who did the one with wasn't make? Oh yeah, Mari. Okay, so here's my notes. What's interesting in the role play is I'm saying over and over again, make sure you're listening. Marky Moses was saying, I don't know where I'll go. I mean, homes in LA are selling fast, and assuming and Kaylee, for example, is in Alaska, so you may not be controlling that sale there. And there's a difference between not knowing where I'm going to go or not knowing if the home is going to be available there for me. So make sure you articulate what they're articulating. If they're saying, well, I don't know where I'm going to move, you better hover there a minute. What do you mean you don't know where in Orlando you're going to be, or you don't know where in the world you want to be? I know you only have 3.5 minutes, just a point. Then when she said downsize, I'm going to give you knuckle bumps for this, because this is a lot of people wouldn't have caught this. I automatically thought about downsizing the size of the home. However, you did ask for clarity. You talk about size or price. So nice job on that, on getting clarity. Now, just one time you interrupted, right? You caught yourself. I think it's when you said CMA. That's the other thing. Do not use jargon. A CMA is not a CMA to them. They're thinking, are you trying to spell cat? What are you doing with CMA? I don't even know what that word is. It's not a Scrabble word. So don't use jargon. And by the way, just editorializing, I want to get you off the CMA kick anyway. Okay, I really want to get you off that. You're leaning on that too much because you're thinking you're going to know what the value is by doing a CMA. You won't. And you're saying close escrow. A couple of you guys said that. People don't know what that is. Escrow sounds like a legal term. I don't even like that term if I'm a layman. They understand what the settlement is or the closing. So just be careful in your language. And yeah, Mark, you're a little slippery. So I'll go first on Kaylee and Mari. And then John, you can fill in. Was there a comment? Actually, okay. So you want to go through the 3 options, Mari. She interrupted you and you never got to the 3rd one. What's the 3rd one? You said rent back. Then you said a bridge loan. What's the 3rd one?
Rent and temporary, you know.
Okay. Then you said, now I just questioned this is feasible or not. You're saying on the first one, we'll get someone to be willing to rent back the house, after X number of months, 2 months, but if you don't find a house, we're going to cancel. What buyer would step into that deal? Maybe it's my limited thinking. I think there's a better way. You said also close escrow, and see. These were Kaylee's words. LA 4 months. She said it twice. Worried about missing out. What's our best option? So anyway, then you went through the pricing of it, and I appreciate what Moses said. It wasn't exactly, although there's bits and pieces of what I would say in there. So unlike Bryant, what I like about what you did there, Amari, is that you took the listing. Then you said, what if it doesn't sell? So in my approach in this marketplace, and it's just my approach, you may have a different one, Bryant. I'm not going on the mat with them on price initially. Because, I've seen too many houses sell over what you quote CMA's done. And so I'm going to get the listing. John.
Mari, great job sticking with model. I mean, it was awesome. And Kaylee, it was very nice of you giving her all the information that she needed up front. So Mari did have an easier job than Moses. You did stick to the model. Now, going back to the options, you wanted to present her with 3 options. Remember, when you ask a question, wait for an answer. You presented the first option and then asked what she felt and didn't wait for an answer. So by not waiting for an answer, that first option may have been, you know what, that's great, let's do it. I had no idea. Awesome, case closed. By going and either answering your own questions or adding layers of questions that causes the client to have to think more, you're taking away their opportunity to make the right decision earlier in the game and possibly clouding how they move forward. Like Denny said, if you had gotten to the third option with, you could rent it and then, rent it back and then cancel the deal if it does. I mean, again, so just put the best foot forward right out of the gate. We can put the home on the market, and if we can't find something, we'll just take it off. No harm, no foul.
So I
Gives
want
you all the
Michelle.
flexibility.
Well, I'm sorry, John. Michelle, is that you at the end of the table? Is that Michelle? I can't tell. Kaylee, who's that? Is that Christy?
Me, Trinity.
Who is it?
This is Trinity. She's our new receptionist. Nice
Okay,
to-
all right, good. All right, I thought that was Michelle. All right, so we got time for another one. Let's talk about what we talked about today. And I'll set it up for you really quick. If you're in a low inventory market and a buyer has a concern, should I buy now or wait? What conversations are you having with them up front about the market they may be facing? And I don't want to I'll give somebody 2 minutes to have a buyer consultation. And I don't want to give you any more information. What do you want them to know in 2 minutes? So
Denny,
John,
can I call on a listing agent to get her out of her comfort zone on this?
who?
Christy.
Christy's not, I don't think Christy's in the room. If she only turns it on, then she has a nail appointment or something. I don't know.
All right, perfect, no problem. Then I'll tell you what, we're gonna go back to Judy. Are you available to be the buyer?
Judy Wilson, she's in a car. I don't know.
Yeah,
Judy,
we don't want to run into anything. Okay, Bryant, you're gonna be the agent,
well, wait,
Moses.
yeah, and who?
and Moses will be the buyer.
Well, we got some other people. Let them play. Al, you want to play? Is that Mario?
I'm looking at all the people that don't have their microphones on. That's why, or their cameras. So,
Yeah, if you
Al's
keep your
microphone's
cameras on,
on.
you can play.
all right, Al, you're playing.
Okay,
Camera
I
on.
apologize on the audio part or the video part because I did a Zoom update and for some reason I lost my camera.
No problem. All right, Al, then we're gonna have you be the agent. All right. And
Okay.
Merrill or Morel, is that how you pronounce it? Are you available?
Yes,
Perfect. You are the buyer. Denny just teed it up. We have 2 minutes, right, Denny?
2 minutes. If you, Morale or Merrill, if you can get your camera on the
Merrill. Merrill.
Merrill, thank you, Merrill.
Merrill.
Yeah, 2 minutes. You got,
Yeah,
Al,
yeah.
2 minutes to get the most important things done. So you don't have to have, it doesn't be a long enough conversation.
Okay,
2
what
minutes.
part? I'm
Should I
the
buy
agent
now
or,
or wait? That's your objection. Should I buy or wait, right? Merrill's the buyer. Al's gonna be the agent.
all right.
This is not an objection. This is the 2 minute upfront expectation conversation. Al, you're having a conversation with Merrill on the upfront conversation. How will you prepare for this market?
Hi, Merrill. My pleasure to get the opportunity to sit down with you. From what you're explaining is you're concerned whether or not it's now the time to buy or wait. And one thing I'd just like to do is bring you up to date and where the market's at and where it's been. And I'm sure you hear the news that the housing prices are up substantially. And when you convert that and the price range that you had shared previously that you're looking at, just from a year ago, that's affecting the square footage that's available to you by almost 220 square feet, which is equivalent to a 2-car garage in your buying power. The other thing is right now we have great interest rates. Whether or not we're going to continue those rates for how long, we don't know. And then, of course, thirdly is not only the square footage, but when you take and convert it also into price, values are up almost 29% in your price range. And all anticipation is that they're going to continue to rise.
All right, I'm going to stop you, Al. May we, may I say something?
Yes.
I appreciate being on the call. If I were a buyer, I wouldn't want to buy now.
Okay.
Anybody with me on that?
100%.
So now, Al, you do residential and commercial, right?
Just residential.
Now, what personality style is Al? DISC. Come on, what is he?
Yes.
What?
C
He's a C.
with sub S.
Now, Al, you know the disc profile, right?
Yep.
Now, when you start quoting prices, price per square foot, 220 square feet, blah, blah, blah.
What?
Are you a data guy?
I am.
Don't assume everybody else is. So if thanks for being on the call. If I had to put a little polish on you, I'd say, where's the question?
I was waiting for that. I was actually happy. I was actually happy you didn't ask.
So let's do it. Al, this is all learning, okay? No judgment. So Muriel, right?
Yes.
Muriel,
Yes.
you're an agent. Now you have the conversation with Al. 2 minutes. Now this is an expectation conversation. 2 minutes, go.
I'm so new, I don't even know what to answer. Hi, Al, to
Hi.
ask, actually. So as I heard you say, you're wondering if now's the right time to buy.
That's correct. Yes.
Hey, just follow. Hey, listen, you may have a buyer today. This is going to be good. You've got a minute and a half. You'll sing a song, lullaby, whatever. The YMCA.
I'm so new. I'm like, I don't even know what to answer.
If your mother said that to you, what would you say to her?
Of course you should buy now. It's always a great time to buy.
Say that to Al.
So he's going to ask why.
No, you don't know that. Just say it.
No, for sure he'll ask that. So Al, I think it's a great time to buy.
Well, why is that?
I'll help you out.
Yeah,
Hey,
I
Judy.
appreciate that.
Judy, you're stopped. Can you talk? You're muted. Judy's a rock star agent. I've got my fingerprints on Judy, so you're still muted, Jude. You can talk louder if you're muted. It doesn't work. All right, no worries. Brian, go. 2 minutes. Al.
I'm the agent.
Yep. 2 minutes. Expectation.
Hey, Al. So what is your expectations of this market?
Well, I don't know if it's the right time or not. I know housing prices went way up, and I think at some point they're going to start going the other direction, and I don't want to be caught buying at the high end.
Okay, so you're seeing the market kind of get a little more hotter, but you're also concerned about the pricing, right? Oh,
Yes, I'm sorry. Say it again.
so you're more concerned of the pricing or the condition of the market?
Well, obviously both. They go hand in hand.
Okay, and what price point are you looking into?
I'm trying to stay in that 4.5 million.
Okay, 4.5. Now, the ideal home, if it was to come up around the $400,000 range, would 450 be your max?
Depending on the condition of the home, it could be.
Okay. Now, what's really more important with finding a home? Are you relocating, or tell me about what you're looking for?
Yeah, I'm just going into second marriage, and I'm now going to have 2 kids living with me, and we need just additional bedrooms and a good school district.
Okay, so you go into your second marriage. It seems like you're needing more space with the 2 kids coming in, and so that would be the most important things, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, so if something was to come up within the price range, within the right location, how fast would you be willing to put in an offer?
20 seconds.
Well, school's starting now, so the sooner the better.
Okay, so as soon as possible.
If the right deal's out there, yes.
Okay,
Fine.
great, Al. I mean, I was gonna wrap it up right there.
So John, comments on that?
Well, a couple things that I wrote down that I didn't hear Brian ask. You asked some great questions. A couple things that I missed, and maybe you asked them, maybe you didn't. Al, are you paying cash or are you financing?
Financing.
Okay, great. Next question. And if you answered cash, the answer is also great. The next question to follow up with financing. You know, Al, interest rates are pretty much at an all-time low. Where do you think they're going to be in the future?
You know, I wish I had that crystal ball. I would anticipate
you and I both would be drinking rum drinks on the beach together. But in all honesty, where do you think that rates are going to go?
I would say they'll have a tendency to go on up instead of down.
Okay, does that work for you or against you?
Works against me.
Okay. And how long do you plan on owning the house for?
Well, 4 to 5 years.
Okay, now the 4 to 5 years, you mentioned, second marriage, you got some younger kids. Are they going to be graduated with high school by then, or are you going to be moving into a different high school district?
No, they should be graduated by that time.
Okay, wonderful. So do we have any idea where the market is going to be in 5 years?
No, and that's why I'm concerned with buying on the high end.
Well, markets are cyclical, aren't they?
Yeah. We've seen what's happened in the past. We don't know what's going to happen in the future.
That comes right back down to the crystal ball. And your alternative, if you don't buy, is what?
Finally, somebody's at the alternative.
My wife and I, or future wife, won't be able to do what we're hoping to do once we get married and settle under one roof.
Okay, so would you be renting?
No, we both have homes right now.
Okay, so if you both have homes now, do you need to sell? Now we're getting into, he's not really a buyer, he's two sellers. Do you need to sell those homes in order to make this purchase?
Okay, so there's 2 minutes. Okay, so you guys, when somebody has a fear, this is the formula. Acknowledge it, identify it. What's their alternative? What's their greater pain? I just made a couple of notes really quick on Brian. It's funny. I wrote it all down. I can't read you were talking so fast. I wrote some really good notes down, Brian. I just can't read them. So one of the things we were talking, and we'll close with this, and John and I participated in a great role play today, and I wasn't real specific on it. And it came up, one of our agents, we have 2 minutes, has 2 properties to show. That's it. In their price range, their criteria, 2 properties to show. So let's model that really quick, John. If you are that buyer, and we can chew on this again next week if you want. What do you do in the upfront? So John, I'll set the timer for 2 minutes and we'll be just a minute late. So John, you're the buyer. We're going to go out and look at property. Fair enough?
Sure, let's go.
All right. Hey, John, before we go, let's have a quick conversation. Let me ask you this. Based on our conversations and what you're looking for, two homes come up to meet the needs we went over. So did you look at them online yet?
Yes, I did.
And what's your blink on them?
Yeah, they're very similar. They're in the same school districts. They're approximately the same price. And I'd like to see them both because I think either one of them may work.
So as we begin to work together, I want to understand how you evaluate a property. Is that okay?
Sure.
So in your opinion, do you think the market right now is friendly to buyers, or is it more friendly to sellers?
It still seems to be fairly seller friendly right now.
Okay. And you know that we don't have a lot to choose from, right?
Right.
So let me ask you this question. This will help me understand the way you process. Let's say at the last minute, your spouse, say, hey, look, we want to have a dinner party. Friends are coming over. They're coming in from out of town. They love steaks. hey, honey, would you run to the store and get some nice steaks? So there's only one store to go to. You walk in there and there's no steaks. You got people coming over. What will you do?
Stop at McDonald's or Five Guys.
All right. So
that's the closest thing we're going to get at that point.
Yes, but you do have all alternatives. You realize you have alternatives, right? You could substitute the meal.
Yeah,
or
I mean, I could get chicken or salmon or something.
You could go out to dinner, or you could cancel the meal, right?
Yeah, canceling wouldn't work if the wife's made the plans.
Likewise, when we go out and look at these houses, and there's basically no other houses out there, I'm curious how you're going to react.
Well, it's without seeing them, it's kind of tough to tell.
Fair.
You know, it's so I think what I hear you saying is I might be looking for something different from our conversation. I am probably looking for something that we're not going to see today.
I don't know. What I'm attempting to understand, because I want to best represent you, is of all the things you want. You know, in an inventory slim market, we have to somehow compromise. And so I want to know where your threshold is on compromise. What percent of the things you want to, if zero is like, I'll live in it if it's a doghouse with no central air, or it has to have 100%. What range of acceptability, and it's a subjective number, are you really looking for?
You know, given our time frame, if we can get 70% of our 70 or 75% of our list, that would probably be the baseline for acceptance.
Okay, and my last question is this: let's assume that it was like only 60, but you could fix something, paint something, add something to bring it up to the 70 plus. Would that be a possibility?
No, I guess as long as it wasn't a huge time or expense to do so, sure.
I got it. Now, here, I'll close it with this, you guys. I mean, I'm done. We just kind of role played that. Tell me what your thoughts are on something like that. That's the expectation conversation. Then when you go to show the home, we're in the first home, John. Where is this on the percentage?
65.
Can it be made a 70?
Yeah, you know, we just really the flooring is what's annoying me. If it had better flooring, we'd probably be there.
Now, they may want to look at the other home, but still, remember, just because the market's slowing, that means the homes aren't sold in 3 hours, or they're sold in 6. So have that conversation with them up front. Prepare them. That's why when you were saying perfect home earlier on today in the role play was driving me crazy, because that was going through my mind. You never would use perfect home. In fact, somebody on our team said, it was as the agent, hey, John, tell me your priorities in your next home. And I went ballistic. Why did I go ballistic, John?
Well, I think that happened after I had to step off this morning, then, but priorities, I'll take a stab at it here. Priorities aren't a lifestyle.
Well,
priorities is a very sanitary way of thinking about it.
Yeah, but that's another direction, because I'll let these guys go, because you did have to pop off. Because he wanted to have the buyer list all the things they wanted. That's not the market we're in. What's your priority?
Give me your top 3.
No, it's not even that.
All right.
It's 1. Build on 1. If you build on 3, which is typically what we would do, what happens when they find a home that's only got 2? They feel like they can disqualify it. No, when there's only 2 or 3 homes to look at, that's it, that's all. All right, so give us some ahas, you guys. Come on, give us some ahas.
Denny, you always remind me to ask more questions and to talk less. Listen, ask questions and listen.
Well, thanks for being on, Judy. You're an awesome agent, and come back again next week. And I know you were muted, and I'd love to have you role play some and show off your smarts, because as I said, I've got fingerprints. I got fingerprints on you way back early in your career.
That's so true.
What else? What else, you guys?
Tell me more.
I love that. Come on.
Find motivation by asking questions.
Yep. Come on. There's got to be more.
As always, what's the greater pain?
So I appreciate you being on. Now, Al, I trust I didn't bruise you at all. Again, it's just a different style and whatever. Take it for what it's worth. Bad information is going to be really helpful when you find out somebody really wants all the data. So you guys, awesome role play today. Tell your friends, we can share this knowledge. Bring somebody with you next week. Go, if you haven't already, go to my YouTube, Denny Grimes Mastery, and like it and subscribe, or you get a little bell. I'm over 300 now. My goal is 1 million. So help me get there. John, host, co-host, Brian, you're coming along, man. You're going to be like me in about 2 more months. You'll be able to take over for me.
Awesome.
See you guys.
We'll see you guys.
Awesome.
Bye.
All right, Denny. All right, John.